Fortaleza Esporte Clube have built themselves into a solid team since promotion to the Campeonato Brasileiro Série A in 2018. Recently, they upgraded their training facilities thanks to former Olympic athlete, now renowned businessman, Robert Mateus. He is also the father to youth prodigy, Juliano Mateus. A tall athletic striker with a nose for goal, at just age 15, he was the star man for Fortaleza's under-20s. Or should I say, one of them. Leo Anites is his name, and Embarrassing Fools is his favorite game. That's really gonna be your tagline? A relative unknown outside of the Serra region, he has played for Fortaleza's youth for several years, unlike Juliano Mateus. Discovered years ago in futsal halls, the talent was apparent. His background isn't too dissimilar compared to many greats of the past and present, yet it was a different world compared to the Mateuses. Off the field, the two never got along, each growing resentment for each other. Leo was considered to be on the ball, the more talented footballer. Juliano, on the other hand, had the genetics of a top athlete. Both had something the other didn't have. However, they each had the same ambition: wear the number 9 for the Seleção Brasileira and lift the World Cup. Even with their growing hatred, they would destroy the Cearense under-20 league. That can be attributed to Bernardino's 4-4-2 formation. Seeing their lack of camaraderie wouldn't stop them from excelling. He knew a few aspects of Mateus' technique was lacking, but when it came to finishing his chances and the work rate he put in, not many strikers were better in that age bracket. Just don't ask him to switch to play. Leo can fit in that role, but here, he was stronger in linking with the midfield, along with finding great chances for himself with his dribbling and flair. Since he played deeper, he became a great distributor, leading to a lot of goals for his partner. In the regional league, Juliano was by far the top scorer with 38, to go along with 9 assists in 27 appearances. Meanwhile, Leo had 24, and the same amount of assists. That led to the former getting more notice, due to greater output, and stronger PR. Compared to other regional youth leagues, nobody did better than them. People began to ask, are they the real deal, or is their region just weak? To determine that, additional competitions were played. There was a Campeonato Brasileiro Sub-20 where the best youth teams in Brazil participated. Then in August, the Copa do Brasil Sub-20 began, which was a knockout tournament. Focusing on the league competition, it was separated into 2 groups. Fortaleza were in Group A, which had some of the strongest youth academies in the country. That included Santos, Palmeiras, Corinthians, and Fluminense. Beginning with Goiás, Leo opened the campaign thanks to Mateus' header. Unfortunately, their side conceded an equalizer at the death. Not much would separate these clubs in the early stages. Down 1-0 versus Santos, Leo's equalizer rallied the boys, which consequently forced an own goal for the victory. That couldn't be said against Atlético Paranaense, where the first loss arrived. They would rebound against Cuiabá, where Leo would grab a hat-trick and Mateus found a brace himself. Following, another victory arrived with Red Bull Brazil. The momentum carried on, with an early penalty from Mateus securing a massive victory over Fluminense. Then, Leo would grab his second hat-trick of the competition as Vasco da Gama were sunk. Next, in the penultimate group game, Palmeiras were defeated with Juliano finding the open space. Unfortunately, it didn't end well, with a massive loss to Corinthians. Throughout this, Leo had the higher highs, getting his goals in bunches, but Juliano became more consistent with his scoring in the last 5 matches. They finished on top of the group, meaning Cruzeiro, who finished 4th in Group B, would be their opponents. That occurred 2 months after the conclusion of the previous stage, but a problem arrived by that point. Both missed the first leg. Juliano was given an opportunity to play for the Brazilian national youth team, and Leo fractured his ribs by lifting too much weight. Yet, 42,000 fans came and watched as they were still able to win at home 2-0. Although, if they had their 2 stars, maybe it would have been a blowout. Good news for them, Leo was back for the second leg. Granted, his ribs were taped up, so he clearly wasn't at 100%. Plus, the lack of chemistry with temporary striker Daniel led to a frustrating encounter in Belo Horizonte. The opponent scored twice in the first half to equalize the aggregate. That all led to a penalty shootout where Leo opened it up. Both sides would miss a pen prior to the 6th round. 4-4 and sudden death, the 6th shooter for Fortaleza was Michel Cavalcante. He shot it over the brick wall and and we're still looking for the ball. Murilo on Cruzeiro's side was calmer and sent them to the next round. A huge disappointment as Group A's best side. Despite Leo finishing as the second top scorer in the competition, without Juliano, the job wasn't done. By the end, America Futebol Clube would win against Internacional. This brought a slight loss of confidence for Leo, as when Juliano returned, he scored 4 in a friendly win past Potiguar de Mosoro reserves, while Leo got none. Then in the penultimate Sarense fixture, Leo grabbed 3, but Juliano slaughtered in 6 in a 14-0 victory. This form, however, would be beneficial for the U20 Copa do Brasil, a competition with 32 of Brazil's best youth academies. They were drawn with Cruzeiro at home. The rematch, this time with Juliano, and over 40,000 less fans than the previous encounter. No Daniel, no party. It was a game changer, as his physicality became difficult to deal with. He grabbed 2, seeing Fortaleza move on. Now the second round has changed to a two-legged affair, where they faced Grêmio. Prior to this, the Fortaleza youth claimed a perfect record in the Sarense League, but Grêmio were a whole different beast. Neither of the strikers had a good match, but Leo was especially poor, as Grêmio smashed Fortaleza 3-0. That continued into the home tie, where nothing was mustered. Leo was getting shut down again, and with Juan Riquelme receiving a second yellow in the 66th minute, hope was all lost. Hope was all lost, except from Juliano. That 74th minute goal brought the energy, and less than 10 minutes later, he was found again for another brilliant header. In spite of the setback, they had a chance. Unfortunately, the tired legs of Fortaleza couldn't provide anything else, as they were eliminated and their season was over. Grêmio went on to lose in the semis to eventual winners, Corinthians. Focusing on the senior squad, at this point, they had lost 5 out of their last 6 games. With 7 matches remaining and the unlikelihood of losing their Copa Sudamericana spot, the teenagers were brought in to the senior team. What's the worst that will happen? Losing more games? Yes. Leo would get some game time, but it would be Juliano who would break the record for the youngest goal scorer in the club's history. The PR is unmatched. Regardless, any club with 2 attackers like these, let alone 1, should be thrilled. There would be a potential issue. It was all well and good using 2 strikers in the youth leagues. Unlike Bernardino though, the manager for the senior squad only used 1 striker. Sure, maybe you could mold one of them into a left or right winger, but a manager whose job is on the line would rather not risk starting a pair of 16-year-olds. Plus, you'd also make an unhappy player, as one would be seeing the other play their desired position. Still, it's clear both were too good for the youth league, yet somebody's development was going to get blocked. A conundrum. But it was a conundrum solved much easily with an external opinion. Rumors were being discussed in the dressing room, including a meeting between Robert Mateus and the president. One teammate wondered if better training facilities were incoming and asked Juliano about it.
Eu não sei o que esse velho faz no seu tempo livre.
Rumors continued to circulate among the dressing room as the end of the season approached. Fortaleza would finish in 9th, which meant qualification for continental football. Everyone was packing up before the very short break in the Brazilian calendar. However, before leaving, Leo got noted that he was wanted by the director of football. Nothing out of the ordinary, especially with his youth contract ending on New Year's. When he walked in though, it wasn't just him. The coach wasn't there, but the president was, along with Robert Mateus. A somber look was on the director, while a smug one on Robert. Contract discussions came up, but when he said he was sorry about this, Leo thought he was going back to the under-20s. Instead, the director said that we made several decisions that's best for the club, and unfortunately, that results in not extending your contract. Before Leo could even get his thoughts together, the director wished him the best in his future. Leo snapped, which led to heated exchanges. Exiting the office in near rage, trying to process everything, he headed for the exit, where he saw Juliano.
Boa sorte.